If you or someone you know has diabetes, you may have built up an extra supply of test strips and lancets. That's where we come in. We'll buy the supplies that you don't need and resell them to those in need to prevent waste. Help us make diabetes management more affordable. Visit us at teststripswithaz.com.
All right, we have Steve Garcia Jr. joining the show. He meets Desmond Torres next Tuesday night on Dana White's Contender Series. Welcome to the show, Steve. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I just got done my last hard day of training, really. Everything else is kind of just tapering off, so it was good to put in some good work this morning.
There you go. So as we record, we're 1 week away from the fight. The hard training portion of this all is a thing of the past at this point. It's just about getting everything together. How are you feeling as we're getting closer and closer to this big fight in Vegas?
I'm just ready to get it going. I want to get it started. I can't wait for Tuesday to come. At this point, you're just focusing on the weight cut. You're focusing on, your mental aspect and, staying sharp. Like I said, this morning was like my last hard day of training. So now, just the small things, and obviously the weight cut for sure.
When did you find out that you're going to be a part of the Contender Series, and how long has this camp been for you?
It's been 3 weeks.
3 weeks? Okay.
I actually had just switched my management company, and I just gave them a notice, and I switched over to a Rhythm Sports agency, and shout out to Jason House, because he's honestly he's done amazing things just from the get-go. So I started working with him because I talked to him. I just got married a week and a half before I signed with him. So it was pretty nice, and it was a good set of things. And he's like, "Can you be ready?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like that, absolutely. Who doesn't like a little bit more of a notice? But three's enough for me to get the job done, for sure.
How is married life treating you? I've been married now for, I should get this right off the bat, over 7 years now. So I get it. It's a lot of give and take. It's a lot of work involved in marriage, but you're a professional fighter, so you know what that's all about. How are you enjoying married life?
Dude, I love it, man. It's funny that you hear people say that it's tough and it's difficult. And I'm sure there is times where, you do have to, give a little and take a little, but for the most part, I have an amazing wife. We actually got married a year ago. So technically we had our ceremony and stuff July 3rd, but we actually got married July 2nd, the year prior. So we actually got to celebrate it, and I wanted to make sure I dedicated, everything to her, and she got what she wanted, and she looked beautiful, man. And, I have a stepdaughter with her. And they're just amazing, man. I love them to death. I'll do anything for them. It's honestly rewarding.
When I got presented with your name, I mean, I knew who you were, obviously, but it took me back a little bit to a couple of years back, because I had interviewed Joe Warren just before your fight with him at Bellator 181, and the fight didn't go your way, but you took on a former multi-time world champion in the process, and you probably learned some valuable lessons along the way. What did you take away from that fight back in 2017?
You know what? I feel like I was still obviously developing. You know what I mean? I was still developing. I had worked on a lot of wrestling defense, but I didn't work with wrestling in general. I probably should have got myself a little bit more familiar with the wrestling aspect. I felt good. We went 3 rounds. And like I said, it was definitely not a fight I wanted. I didn't go my way, but I definitely love to strike. I love to fight. Him obviously being a wrestler wants to take me down, hold me down, and hopefully get a submission or a ground and pound. But, my hat's off to the guy. Anybody that beats you, it's never an easy pill to swallow. But you know what? He's put his time into the sport. I've watched him, in the sport, and after the fight, he's like, man, he says, I really had to be really smart with you. And we had some good talks afterwards. And, he says, I heard him pretty bad from the get-go. And he was in survival mode from the get-go. And it was almost just like a roller coaster ride from what he explained to me. And coming from a vet, coming from a former champion, I'm like, all right, well, you know what? I belong here. You know what I mean? So I'm not too far off, and then hearing from him, that I'm part of the future. it's pretty inspiring. It's cool. It's everything. So hats off to that guy. Of course, I would run it back any day, but uh, best man won, and congrats to Joe Warren on that.
Well, you bounced back after that. You've won 2 out of your last 3 fights. You just turned 27 years old. You're a married man now, so you have a lot more to fight for these days. There's still plenty of MMA left in your career, for sure. And you talked about you're still developing. Do you feel like things at this point are starting to click for you at the right time?
I like to think so. I really had to change my style. I changed my fight style quite a bit. And what's nice is I can adapt if I need to. I always had the old style back in my bag, and obviously it got me pretty far. But as you start climbing the ladders, people are going to get tougher and tougher, and we really just utilized pretty much my range, my height, just my body type to the best of my ability, and according to the types of bodies that I'm fighting. So. We did change a lot. I have really good training partners, and I was able to kind of test out some different things, work with some different things, and I feel like it's paid off in my last 2 fights. My last fight ended the second round, but I got him off from the get go, and kid was just tough. He just didn't want to let go. So but we did our job in the second round, and the fight before. It was a bloodbath, man. It was just 5-round, just bloodbath, and I controlled, pretty much, I'd say about 95% of that fight. So I was happy about that. So it seems like we're getting results from the work we've been putting in. So I'm happy about that.
I know you shared the cage with Elan Cruz, who had one of the best knockouts in Contender Series history a couple of weeks ago. What was that like, seeing a former opponent go out there and pull off an incredible win like that and earn a spot on the roster?
No, man, it's honestly, I was happy for him. I was happy for him just because when I did fight him, I was fighting at 45. Just because local-wise, I can't find a fight at 35. I just can't. So I had to start moving back up in weight, and he was the only one willing to take it. I'm like, bro, this guy's game. This guy's really, he's tough. He seems like a good opponent for me. Good test, good challenge. I've never really backed down from a fight, so we set that up, and went pretty good. I took him down, did a couple things, ended up on the floor, and he caught me with a rear naked, so hats off to him. He's tough. He deserves where he's at, so I'm happy for him. Of course, anybody that beats me, they better go beat a billion other guys, too. They better be good. I don't want to lose the people that are constantly losing either, So I'm happy for him. He did a spectacular fight knee. Was it 2 weeks ago? And couldn't be more happy for him and stuff. We follow each other on social media and all that stuff. So he's a really nice guy. I was happy for him.
I know you got this opportunity 3 weeks ago. You found out you were fighting on the Contender Series. Was Torres always the guy? Because I had read different reports that you had a different opponent.
No, this is my third opponent change. Which I kind of didn't understand how that happened. It was supposed to be Albert Montes, and then it went to Alfred Kashkayan, and then now I have Desmond Torres. So I had 3 different styles: one heavy kicker, one boxer, and then now this guy he's been subbing everybody. So I really had to change my game plans accordingly. But I think that, at this point, we put in all the training, put all the work. And of course, we're always working on the same thing, but, per opponent, you always want to make sure that you're adjusting as necessary to the guy you're fighting. And I've actually trained with Desmond Torres for, I don't know how long. It was I want to say it was maybe 6 months. I couldn't really tell you. But he was a cool guy. I just, this is just business, and I gotta do everything I can to win, and I'm sure he's doing the same.
Knowing what you know, training with him for as long as you have, for 6 months or so, knowing you're about to fight him in a week or so, how do you like the matchup from a stylistic perspective?
I think I'm a tough stylistic matchup for anybody in the bantamweight division. I'm a big bantamweight. I'm 6 foot. I have a 75-inch reach. Not too many people are about my size, so I feel like I create a lot of trouble. But going with someone that's always game, it's always it just raises questions. What is he gonna be able to stop the takedown? Am I gonna be able to utilize my reach? There's just so many questions that go into it, and then we don't get to see it until the fight. So I'm happy with the matchup. I know that he's going to come out swinging. He's a game opponent, and I'm excited to get my job done. Go get me a contract.
I know you'd mentioned that you got the opportunity on 3 weeks notice, and you'd love to have more time to prepare for this thing. But is there a part of you that kind of prefers this, because then you can kind of get out of your own way, get out of your own head? You don't have to overthink anything. You just go in there. You have to go in there and put on a performance and fight. It takes a little bit of pressure off you. You know what I mean?
It does take off a little bit of pressure, but I'm a perfectionist. Like in my head, I want to make sure that I have no stones unturned, if that makes sense. Like, I just want to make sure that I put everything I can into my training camp for whoever I'm fighting. And, obviously it helps with the weight cut too. The weight cut's kind of big for me. But, at the end of the day, I get it done. It does have its pros and its cons because after next week, I can eat like a normal person. You know what I mean? So that's cool. I do enjoy to, spend time with family, eat a pizza or a burger or something like that. But at this point, it's all business. It's all, healthy food and hard training, and just, making sure I'm ready for the fight. That's really what it's about.
I know you're a perfectionist, but when you close your eyes and visualize this all going down, how do those daydreams go when you think about the fight? How does this thing play out next week?
Dude, honestly, like, I don't see any other thing other than pretty much stapling his head to the canvas while I'm just punching it, man. It's I don't have any other choice. Like, this is like, I'm all in on this. I have to go out there. I have to defeat him. And Dana White, all these people want impressive knockouts. It's true. Like, it's not good enough just to win anymore. You have to win impressively. And unfortunately, Desmond Torres is at the end of my punches, and I'll be gladly to help him out as soon as I finish him, and I get my hand raised, and but at the end of the day, I got to get my job done, and I've been working 12 years for this. This is not something that I take very lightly. This is a big opportunity for me, and I got to run with it, and I got to make the most of it.
I hear through the grapevine you are a big Dallas Cowboys fan. Is that accurate?
I'm a big Dallas Cowboys fan, man. Been for a long time. Well, a lot of my family's from Dallas, so we live here in Albuquerque, and we don't have an actual pro team here, so it's either the Broncos or the Cowboys, and me and my wife are big Cowboys fans.
I'm here in Massachusetts, and the Cowboys and the Patriots are going to play each other this year, which I'm looking forward to. But how do you think the Cowboys look this year? I mean, Dak Prescott wants $40 million a year now. Like, do you think this causes a ripple effect here, or do you think they should just pay in the money and move on?
I don't know. It's too young to tell. It's too early to tell, I think, to be real. I like Dak. I like that. When times get tough, he's the guy you want to depend on. And I like seeing people like that. But he's still young. If you have to go side by side, stat for stat, obviously him and Tom Brady, there's a big difference. You know what I mean? And he has his money cut out for him, so he better go earn some of it. When he goes plays you guys in New England. But as much as I can't stand the New England Patriots because they're so freaking good, my hat's off to him because I honestly, Tom Brady's the GOAT. He's greatest and best quarterback I've, obviously of my time, but there's not too many quarterbacks like him, so I definitely like him, but, I got to stick with Dak. Got to stick with him.
You got to stick with your guy. But I appreciate you saying that because, most fans who say they hate the Patriots, you ask them why, and they don't have an answer for you. Oh, I just hate them. They're cheaters. That's what you get. I'm like, how do they cheat? Tell me how they cheated. All this stuff is blown out of proportion. We could talk about this forever, but we're not going to do that. I also hear that you enjoy playing a round of golf. I was told you are someone who likes to hit the links, and I've been waiting for an MMA fighter to talk golf with because I like to go out and smash a golf ball too. I'm not very good at it, but I like to go out there and do it. Are you able to get out there as much as you'd like being a professional fighter?
I wish I could get out there more, but I pretty much work three jobs if you want to include fighting, because I do consider that as pretty much a full-time job for me. But my dad plays a lot, so sometimes he'll invite me and my wife, and we'll go out and we'll just she'll be in the car with me, and we just go and we'll play. But he bought me my first set of clubs at 18 years old, and man, honestly, I do it before every fight. It's my way of just relaxing. I love being outdoors. I enjoy it. We actually had a golf tournament for my gym. Actually,
That's
it's
right.
an adaptive program, and it was the funnest freaking thing I've ever been a part of. Man, it was me, Holly, it was Carlos, it was Joey, Aaron Pico, Wink, and we were all just sweet. We were playing best ball, and so they were waiting for me to come up so that I can hopefully hit a decent one. And I'm not that great, I can play with one ball for the most part, the whole entire time, and keep it consistent. But it was the funniest thing ever, man. They're just trying to Happy Gilmore it, and it was honestly comical. But I love those guys, man. They're good, teammates, good people, and I had a blast, and it was for an amazing cause. They really focus on a lot of like Down syndrome and autism and just different random situations that these kids go through, and so we're able to raise, I think good chunk of change for them. I can't really say how much, but I was so happy, and then it was fun. When you're with your team playing out like that, Holly's doing break checks, and you see Carlos doing donuts. It was a good time. It was a good time.
I was gonna say, if someone asked me like what MMA fighter you'd like to play around in golf with, I think Carlos Condit would be one of the guys at the top of my list. What is that like watching him play golf? Like he doesn't strike me as, the typical golfer.
That's pretty accurate because he does not play golf. Yeah, I wouldn't say he's great, but he there at the end he started making little adjustments, and I'd say probably the last 3 or 4 holes he was actually hitting it down, the fairway, and it's going, fairly well. But he made contact, and it would go sometimes really really high and really far off to the right, or sometimes they would, go a couple feet to the left. Just depends on how you're feeling, I guess. But it was hilarious. It was a good time. Oh, and Brandon Gibson was there, so him and Brandon Gibson they were just cracking the up. They were just having a good time because Brandon didn't play either. So yeah, man, it was a good time. We all had a good time.
When do you guys head out to Vegas?
I gotta be there Saturday, so I'm thinking I'm probably gonna drive out there. I think I'm driving out there Friday. I'm trying to arrange it to where I can get my coach's flights, and they can get there whenever they need to, because we're actually going to stay. Before we even got it, the call for the Contender Series. Oh yeah, my dad loves George Strait, and he planned this out like 4 months ago for us to go to Vegas, and he's playing the week after my fight. So my fight's on a Tuesday, and then I think George Strait plays on a Friday night. So we'll be out there. So I think he's gonna just drive. We're both gonna drive down there, and then after that I'm gonna fly back, to my family, while my dad's just gonna stay there because his girlfriend's gonna fly out and hang out with him the next couple of days. So it'll be a good couple weeks. But yeah, we should be out there Saturday.
Well, it all starts next Tuesday when you get in the cage with Desmond Torres, and if all goes well, you have an exciting fight, you get the finish as you plan on doing, and Dana White talks to Laura Sanko, and she utters the word, and Dana utters the words, "Steve Garcia, gotta have this kid. Welcome to the UFC." What is that going to mean to you?
Hey man, he'd make a dream come true if that happened, man. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make my name great. I'm trying to support my family. And you know what? It almost like just you saying that, you know what I mean? Just kind of like almost is breathtaking in a sense, when you work as hard as I have. I'm not saying that like other people don't, but I know what I put in, and it's it's like I said, it's a breathtaking moment. It's wild. Like it's kind of almost hard to explain because it's just it's when the hard work starts. Obviously, now you're getting into the best organization in the world, but to get to that point, because also what I like about the Contender Series is that you have to earn your way in there. You know what I mean? You have to fight to get in the UFC. Some people, they just answer a phone call and they're in. You know what I mean? Like for me, I have to go out there, prove that I'm good enough in front of the bosses of that company, and then they can give me the thumbs up or not. So the fact that I have that, it's going to be rewarding when I can get that contract. And of course, you probably see a smile on my face, man. It's gonna be a good time, and I'm gonna be happy and joyful and everything like that, and be able to go back home and spend it with my family and enjoy a slice of pizza. That'd be good.
Steve Garcia joining us, takes on Desmond Torres next Tuesday night on the Contender Series in an exciting bantamweight matchup. Steve, before we wrap up, man, let the folks know where to find and follow you via the world of social media. Any shout-outs, anything else you want to get off your chest, the floor is yours.
Oh man, thanks. I have a bunch of sponsors, but I want to give a shout out to SMI Facility Services. They've always been with me. Unleashed Sports Nutrition. They've been my supplement company for so long. They've actually been with me for 12 years since I started. So big shout out to Corey Septa, and then my buddy Brad Maestas. He's my chiropractor, and then just everybody else, Dr. Nita, Coach Wink, and Greg. And then I want to give a shout out to, obviously my wife. I love her to death. I'll do anything for her. My baby Haley, my dad, my mom, my brother, everybody. They've just been really supportive. And then if you want to follow me, I have some cool buddies you might want to check out from time to time. And you probably need a little bit better about it, but you can hit me up on Instagram at MeMachine505. Twitter's the same way, but I haven't really been on there too much. And then Facebook, you can just follow me at Steve Garcia. I'm actually trying to get that back up because I just got recently hacked. So I'm trying to get that thing all situated, but that should be up here shortly. But yeah, that's pretty much about it. And obviously, I'm a big believer, so I just want to thank God. Thank you for the opportunities, and thank you, man. I appreciate you just putting me on your podcast and giving me some exposure. That's great. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. Really enjoyed it. All the best to you in Vegas. Enjoy the time out there. Enjoy the country music concert, and hit him straight, man.
Thank you, man. That's the plan. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.